G'day there and welcome to Tim's Board Game Review episode 18. In this episode I'll be reviewing Odin's Ravens. Odin's Ravens is a two-player card game and the game takes about half an hour to play. In Odin's Ravens, each player is in control of a raven and they are trying to beat their opponent in a race across the land. After each race, players are awarded points, and it normally takes about 3 or 4 races for one of the players to accumulate the 12 points that's needed to win the game. So let's see what you get inside the box. There are the 2 ravens, or 1 for each player. The Odin marker, which players can use to hinder their opponent. A 6-page colour rule booklet. There are 112 cards in 4 different types. There are the land cards, or the landscape cards, which the ravens are flying over. There are flight cards that each opponent has in their deck and in their hand. Odin's cards, which allow special actions to be performed. The Magic Way cards that are put to the side of the landscape cards and offer another opportunity to gain points. This is what the game looks like set up, ready for play. At the start of each round, 9 land cards are laid out onto the table, ensuring that there are no 2 adjacent land tile spaces of the same type. Each player puts their raven at the start of the flight path, and the Magic Way card is randomly selected and placed between the players. Each player draws 5 cards from their own supply, and play is then ready to begin. Players then alternate turns. During a player's turn, players place cards. The most common use of a card is to move a raven along the flight path. The card played has to match the next space or spaces along the flight path. If the player doesn't have the correct card, they can play 2 cards of a different type instead as a wild card. Another option is for a player to put cards on the top of their auxiliary deck. This deck is kept face down and can be used in later turns to assist the player, but must be played in the order from top to bottom. Off to the side of the flight path is the Magic Way, which has 2 of the 6 types of cards shown on it. Players can choose during their turn to place matching cards from either their auxiliary deck or their hand on their side of the Magic Way card. At the end of the race, the player with the most cards against the Magic Way card earns 3 points. If there is a tie, no player gets any points. You can also play Odin cards during your turn. There are 4 types of cards and each has 2 options that will either assist you or hinder your opponent, with one card, for example, either allowing you to move your raven forward 1 space or your opponent's raven back 1 space. During your turn, you're able to play up to 3 cards from your hand and also up to 3 cards from your auxiliary deck. At the end of your turn, you are able to discard 1 card from your hand or the top of your auxiliary deck, and you then draw from the deck and return your hand back to 5 cards. At the end of your turn, you may also choose to add a card to the end of the flight path. A race ends when one of the ravens reaches the last space of the flight path. They then gain as many points equal to the number of spaces they won the race by. And as mentioned earlier, the winner of the Magic Way gets 3 points. The next round then begins by the player who has the fewest points. The first player to 12 points wins, which usually takes about 4 rounds or so. So now here are my ratings for this game. Components I give 7 out of 10. There's good quality cards with decent artwork. The luck factor would be medium, as the flight path is more or less random and the cards you draw from the deck are also random. Fun factor medium. It's quite a quick race to the finish, and which always keeps the game interesting, and there is a fair bit of player interaction. Complexity probably low to medium. It's quite simple rules that don't take long to get the hang of. I'd call the depth low to medium. There's a fair bit of chaos and randomness in the cards in the flight path to be able to try out too many sort of different strategies. I suppose each round you are basically just trying to just optimise your play with your current hand. Replayability medium. There's not a huge amount of depth to the game, but it's still a game that you can pull out regularly and not become bored of, because due to the random nature of the flight path and the cards in your hand, one round may feel quite different to the next round. Overall, I'll give the game a 7 out of 10. It's a solid 2-player game that is quick and fun to play. So I hope you've enjoyed the review in front of my new board game storage area, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye for now.